Hey everybody, this is Khara Brindle, co-founder of the Empowerment Model of Clinical Supervision. Welcome to another video of the Stellar Supervision series. Everything we talk about is supervision and supervisor, leadership, development, supervising, it's all good stuff. Today we have Meredith with us today, and she's going to talk to us about large team supervision, which some of you are like, what the heck is that? And I think she has a lot of cool stuff to share. Meredith, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Like I said earlier, I'm kind of geeking out. I watch all the videos and I'm excited to be here. So
Well,
thank
we
you for including
appreciate
me.
it. Yes. So share with the viewers what you do and what you're about when it comes to
Sure.
supervision.
Yeah. So I am a program director at a nonprofit. Our program provides free assessments and connection to resources for youth and families. So we have about 10 licensed clinicians on my team. And we work kind of all about the service area, meeting families in the community, at the school. Sometimes they come to our office. And
Oh,
then we do some short-term case management as well with them just to make sure they're getting what they need. And that can range, really for anything. So a lot of our referrals are for mental health services or things like that. But we help families out with everything. So it could be basic needs, it could be mentorship, some kind of connection to community, really just whatever the family is looking for, whatever those barriers might be, we're trying to help them with that. So
wonderful. So
yeah.
what supervision capacity do you have right now with your team?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Our program has licensed clinicians, and then we also have clinicians seeking licensure. So it can vary from time to time. Luckily, we have pretty good staff. I'm knocking on wood right now. Pretty good staff retention. So a lot of the people that get licensure stay, which,
Wow.
at some other agencies, it's like, I'm getting my license and I'm getting out of here because I get free supervision. But right now, most of our clinicians are licensed other than two. But still, as the program director, I need to provide some kind of guidance and even if that's consultation and things like that. So I have two people that I meet with weekly, and then when we have interns, them as well. And then the rest of the team I usually meet with monthly or bi-monthly, depending on what they'd like. So
Nice.
yeah.
So obviously you and I have brainstormed offline to talk about this idea of like large team supervision because not
Mhm.
everyone does it. And so one of the things I primed you is to say, what is large? How do
Yeah.
we define that? So
Yeah.
share that with our viewers if you can.
Um, I would say large would be defined, by really what you can handle. Large to me is my team right now is pretty large. So there are some things that I am working on delegating to other staff members, and I kind of talk about like empowering people within your team so that they
Mhm.
can do those things. There are other people that can provide supervision to the interns. It doesn't have to be all on you. So to me, large is 10. I mean, that's a lot of people to have come to you for almost everything. And it feels like
Mhm.
that sometimes. It's that there's a lot of questions and they want your knowledge and they want to talk to you about different things. Large to me is right now, 10 people is large. But I've been at agencies where my supervisor had probably 20 people on their team. I don't even know how they would manage a schedule, but I've seen it happen. So,
Oh yeah, I mean you're giving me a flashback to when I was a supervisor in community mental health, and I think I had
yeah.
15 to 18. I think I had 18 at one time.
Oh
And
my
I had no
gosh.
boundaries. Like I,
Yeah.
they were calling me on Sundays. There was
Yeah.
crises. Like it was
That's
burnout
crazy.
central.
Absolutely.
So for people who want to do this and do it well, because
Yeah.
obviously there's probably some things to navigate. I know you had some ideas or some skills that they would have to
Yeah.
consider.
Um, well, I think it's important the way I think of it, that really helps me is, and not in the exact same way, but the same way that you serve clients, you need to kind of create that dance. So you really want to establish rapport with your team and build relationships the same way you want to build a relationship and establish rapport with clients, and making sure you
Right.
do that while having your own personal and professional boundaries. But it's important to get to know them and what their goals are and who they are as a person, and what they do outside of work, so you can really help them develop inside of work professionally, but also, personally, whatever they would, whatever their goals might be at the end of this. I think another thing, like I mentioned earlier, is empowering your teams. So you can't be everything to everyone, and you shouldn't. You can't provide, I say level of care just because I use that term so often, but you can't provide every level of knowledge for these people. So if there are people on your team that are demonstrating some of those leadership skills, empower them to use those, delegate some things that would be beneficial to their growth, into your schedule. So one example, like I mentioned earlier, is our interns have to be supervised by an MSW. You don't have to be fully licensed to supervise an intern. Obviously, there are some things that I have to do, like on my end, just to make sure there's fidelity, but lots of the clinicians here enjoy doing that because another great thing about supervision is that you are learning at the same time that you are teaching, I guess you could say. So I really enjoy doing it just because of that aspect. I really like learning with people, and admitting that I don't know everything is also really important. If someone comes to me with a question, because my door is always open, so I do formal supervision constantly, but people also have access to me otherwise. So if there's,
I imagine that's part of the safety that you mentioned earlier, of like creating a safe space for them to come to you, whether it's, hey, I have something in my personal life that's impacting my ability as a clinician, or hey, here's a crisis or an incident that I need to staff between our supervisions.
Yeah, absolutely. And making sure they know that if they come to me, I'm not going to always give them the right answer. Here we go. It's, let's find it together. And if I wasn't here, how would you find the answer? So empowering them in that way. With that, with me being available, a lot of the time you also have to establish some clear communication and limits. So, are people allowed to text you? Is that okay? Can they email you after hours? Is that all right? Is there somebody else that needs to be on call for those types of things? When and how is it appropriate to contact your supervisor? So, I think I do a pretty good job of establishing that with my team. And when it happens to go over that, it's, a conversation about boundaries for yourself and for them, and they should know why, either it's not appropriate or, not helpful for them either. So.
Right. Well, I think it's part of that empowering piece also of, like, I know teaching at some of the universities, I've seen this message of like, ask your supervisor, ask your supervisor, ask your supervisor. Like they're not empowered to have the critical thinking that I think you and I could agree is really important. And so to prevent the burnout of the supervisor who's being asked this by 10, 15 people at a time, I think it is worth saying, like, what's the order of operations? Like, if there's something that's going on, when do you call me? When do you not call me? When do you text? When do you not text? And this all could go under that umbrella of burnout prevention.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about this before, just in past conversations of, where did the expectation come from that, like, there's one person that has all the answers to anything? I mean, it's like the same way, again, like I said, you interact with clients, you let them know, I'm not the one with the answers. You have the answers. We just have to figure out what those are. So yeah, helping them develop that skill too. It's so weird to me that, they do that in programs, that they have people rely on, go to supervision, you ask your supervisor. It's
like permission for everything. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the reasons I started supervision is because it was like a natural progression. I'm one of those people, and this is either a blessing or a curse, I'm not sure. I do something and I ask for forgiveness later. And I think a lot of people that come to me with questions like that all the time, I'm trying to, like, impress on them some of those things, like, hey, if you make this mistake, most of them, nobody's going to die today. So it's fine if we come back to it and say, hey, there's probably something else we could have done differently.
Yes. Well, and Christina, who, is my co-founder in all the things we do, she would say something very similar to that of like, I can save you or I can help you. I don't think she said save you because that would be really enabling. But I think she said something like, I can help you through pretty much anything except one thing. And we all knew what that one thing was, which was having sex with the client. So
Yes. Oh my
anything
gosh.
else, she can help you
That didn't even
navigate.
cross my mind, Khara. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
I know everyone's like, what are you trying to allude
I
to? I'm like,
know.
having sex with clients, don't do it.
Don't do it. I cannot help you with that.
So she, has a sense of humor, and I love her for that because that's what she would say is like, I can pretty much help you navigate any other critical incident or something
Yeah.
that's going on and help you feel empowered to find a solution or learn from the mistake, and hopefully no one's dying, right? Like you said. But, that would be the one line we shouldn't cross because there's not much she can do to help you if you make that choice. So I'm hearing that you have a similar value system of like, hey, I'm here, I'm supportive, I'm curious, we'll figure it out.
Absolutely. I think with that, though, one of the other things that's really helpful is having knowledge. I mean, you are supervising a large team. They are going to come to you with things, but make sure you're, staying up. I say staying current, like with different modalities and what are the resources out there, just the licensure process. Like there are some things that you really should know. You should have some knowledge base about, especially with people new to the field. I think we always once you've been in it for a while, you get this feeling of assumption that, well, everybody should know that, or everybody knows that, or where to find that. And the same way when I work with clients, I'm like, oh, in my head, it's like, that's a natural thought process for me, but for them, it's not. They're lacking in that skill. So making sure you can provide a guidance on certain things is important too.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is why I enjoy teaching because they're so green that when they ask a question, it's a gentle reminder of like, oh, this is not an automated or automatic thought for clinicians. Like it's something they have to learn.
Yeah.
So it keeps us humble and present with what's going on.
For sure.
So I feel like you've described what I champion as supervision of supervision.
Oh,
like if you don't have the answers as a supervisor, you can also build healthy relationships with other supervisors. And
absolutely.
Is that something that you're a fan of?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I have, a couple different groups that I refer to often, but there's one that I meet with monthly where we are, we're all kind of working with the same client base and supervising teams of people, which, and so I really enjoyed connecting with them and just, getting new ideas. That's part of my job, I think, as a supervisor, is to make sure you're not isolating yourself and make sure you know what other people are doing and what's happening out there is, I think, really helpful.
Absolutely. So obviously you have a lot of experience in this area when it comes to large teams or agencies that might be saying, hey, we have a supervisor taking on a lot. This video is probably the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more we could talk about in this arena.
Yeah. I know.
Where can people reach you if they want to talk to you or consult with you on this?
Yeah, I think the best way to reach me is by phone. I like talking on the phone. I like talking on the computer too. It's fun, but I've learned to be it's fun. You can call me on my cell phone at 720-422-7253. And I'm open to any conversations. And yes, just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's lots of different ways and different skills to learn, but
yeah. Well, that's where I feel like you're a wealth of knowledge because you're navigating this, and not everyone can do this well when it's a team of 10 plus people that are asking for things, needing things, and growing as clinicians. So thank you for what you do.
Of course.
Awesome. Well, viewers, stay tuned for more videos. We will see you next time.